Hi guys, and welcome to There's a New Tank Available Somehow, so here's a new video. Basically, today I will be talking to you about the Super Hellcat, and it is indeed quite super. Now, I know that this tank is going to come in logbook crates, and that's actually, it has come because otherwise I wouldn't be able to release this video, but yeah. And that's the biggest downside of it, because it's gambling. You have to play for boxes, and then you have to pay for keys. This is, ugh. And I don't even know if it's the main prize in it, because it hasn't always been that case. Like with the CDA, it wasn't like that, so that's something I'm really not a fan of. But yeah, I will review it for you anyway. I will go over the numbers with you and basically the strength and weaknesses of this tank. Now, what I've noticed is that there's the gun, the way that this is exactly what you just saw. The gun moves as you move, and it's sort of like slowly slinging away and slinging backwards as you go back and forth, and that for me is the main weakness of this tank. That being said though, this tank doesn't appear to have many. As long as you're like in good cover and they can't easily shoot you, this tank can dish out a whole lot of damage and pack a wallop. In this case, this battle, I'm amazingly showing it to you how much I can do before I die. This is not gonna end well, mind you. But basically, this tank, it is pretty phenomenal, and that's worrisome, to be fair. I mean, when they're actually shooting you, they are likely to pan you, and against a Smasher or an Annihilator, you're pretty much doomed and all of that. But pretty much anyone is, so yeah, there's that as well. Overall, though, this tank, I feel it is way too strong, and I don't think it's a very good idea that they release this into the game as is. Because yes, it can die, but if you're behind cover, if you're in a good position, and you can dish out damage like I have been doing in this game, like in 2 minutes I did like 2 point something K damage. And these games that I had later on, this tank is strong, and not strong as in literally strong, because like I said, they sneeze on you, they pen you, but generally speaking, the tank performs really well, and that's worrisome. Anyhow, going over the stats with you, the DPM of this tank is 2427. I've not really compared it to any tank because there's not really any tank to compare it to, in my opinion. I will look at like how the damage compares to some other tanks, but that's about it. Tank-wise, you can't really compare it because otherwise it's different tiers, and you can't compare different tiers because that performs differently, has a different role, and all of that. Like, I've at least tried to stick with other TDs when comparing it, and that's mainly just like to give an idea. Like the Steer that has now recently entered the game has a DPM of 2149. The Blaze has one of 1925, and the E25 is one of 2635, but that's not really comparable because the E25 is a flea. It is a TD, but it doesn't really play like one. But yeah, with a DPM of 2427, this tank can really do a lot of damage in really short amount of time. It has a pen of 182, and that is where it is pretty bad compared to the Steer and the Blaze and the E25. The Alpha is 225, the rate of fire is 10.79, which means it has a reload of 5.567 seconds. That is, mind you, without like equipment and food provisions and all of that, so just keep that in mind as well. It has a caliber of 90, a shell velocity of 853, and an aim time of 1.82. So that's where the tank is sort of getting nerfed, only it doesn't play like it's nerfed. So there's that as well. The dispersion is 0.345. The gun depression is 9 degrees. It's 17 degrees elevation. The aiming arc is 180 degrees. Now, it goes 65 kilometers per hour forwards, 20 kilometers per hour backwards. There's an engine power of 460, and yes, it does feel really mobile. It has a power to weight ratio of 22.88, and basically all of it basically effective HP, terrain resistance, blah blah blah. It's decent. That's comparable to other TDs of its tier at least. The camo while standing still is 35%, and it is 21% while moving. While after shooting, it is 9% while standing still, or 5% while moving. So all of that is like, it's different, but it's comparable to at least things of its own tier. It has view runes of 240. It has an HP of 1100, weighs 20.1 tons, The turret armor is 76 in the front, 40 on the sides and 40 in the back, and the whole armor is 25 all around. So front, side and back are all 25. So basically the armor of this tank is in the turrets, and that's why, being a little bit of a ridgeliner or a peaky boomer, this tank really suits me and my playstyle. Like I said though, this tank, it feels really strong, and I wonder at Wargaming releasing it like this. I think that you can't really count it as OP, and that has mainly to do with the fact that basically it also has large parts where it has no armor, and if they push you, like you saw, you basically get eaten alive and all of that. But the potential of this tank is really high, and like I said, I'm never going to tell anyone to buy a tank. I can't look in your wallet, I can't look into your situation. I don't know what life is like for you, so I'm never going to tell anyone to buy a tank. More than that, this tank comes in lock boxes, which you basically need to play for, and then you have to buy keys in order to open those lock boxes. I don't know if it's the main price, so don't really try to go for this tank, because it is gambling, and gambling is bad, okay? That is something that's always going to remain the case here. Tank-wise though, it is lovely, and I will probably try a little gamble. I'm trying not to gamble because it's not. It costs too much money, and there's too little chance of you actually getting what you want, basically. That's why I'm mainly against gambling. And it would be something else if you got at least your money's worth from what it is, what kind of crate you're buying. But that's never the case. And in the end, at the end of the day, it's the tank that we want, not the other stuff that is in there. So there is that as well. As said, the fact that I don't know if it's a main price in this crate makes it all the worse, to be honest. Because that's something I'm really not looking forward to. If I have to gamble for something that isn't even the main price, because pretty much I have all the other ones, so there is that as well. But yeah, that's me rambling about gambling and all of that. Basically, this is what I meant, by the way. If they see a part of you, they can really hurt you. And I still do not know why I wasn't rushed like hell here, because I'm basically a one-shot for anyone now, and I'm going to get some nice shots in before I will eventually die. But while I was driving these vehicles, I had like several battles where basically stuff like this happened. They were ignoring me, they weren't gunning for me or trying to murder me ruthlessly, and that basically allowed me to do way more than I should have been able to. Like right now, I'm capping the base, I'm being ignored, I'm getting shots in and damage in, and that really should not be the case. So there is that. If any one of them had shot me at this stage, I would have died. And to be fair, I deserved that. But it didn't happen. Not for a while yet, in any case. So right now I'm just basically using this position, using my team as cannon fodder. I know that spaghetti is the biggest problem, so I'm really happy that that not really aim shot actually went in there. So that was lovely. Overall, I've had a really good game. No idea how I'm still alive, but I'll take it. But yeah, this tank, I feel it is too strong, and I'm surprised it's entering the game like this. It is lovely though. I really want it, and I'm really eager to eventually have it. I will probably have to wait for it to come back for gold or money at a later point, because gambling, the chances of you actually getting what you want are really small. And the main weakness of this tank is actually like the turret turning. That is very slow in that regard, and that's basically the main issue with this tank and the main weakness. But if they leave you alone, if you're in a relatively good dug in position and you can dish out the damage, it makes all the difference. So yeah, basically while you watch my team round up the last tank and doing some special things, that is basically it for this video. That is basically my review. Gambling is bad. Don't empty your wallets, don't empty your savings account to do all of that. But yeah, it is what it is. I don't expect tanks to come in not gambling versions these days. But these kind of like loot box crates things, I really don't like it, where you have to buy the keys and all of that. But yeah, that's it for this review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll be seeing you guys the next time again. Bye bye!